Hello, everybody.
Hello.
All right.
Could you use a phone?
I don't know. I don't want to.
Okay. I'll leave you alone.
Is it just your screen, Antoinette?
Yeah, I was telling Liz that I may just not need to.
Yeah, just don't
be
be
on camera.
Yeah.
This is not. This is not going so far.
It's still downloading?
Now it's asking for the meeting password. I don't know. I don't even know which one is.
The meeting ID.
I got it. Let me see. Let's see. Maybe this might be it. Okay. I think this is it later. I think it says that I see it. What is this from? What? Okay.
Hey, Tanya.
All right.
I let Elijah.
How is your name on here? Okay. Sorry. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Yay.
All right.
I saw Elijah Cintron and I said, let him in.
That's okay.
I think you're muted, Antoinette. Can you hear
You're
me?
muted.
You're muted.
Okay. All right. I'm unmuted. My apologies for the technical difficulties, everyone, but I'm sure we are all ready to go at this time. If I don't see your face or I see your face, but I don't see you live, I'm going to ask, are you here? Terry, are you here? Tanya, Ashley, Miss Carrie. All right, good. Thank you, Terry. Thank you, Ashley.
I am here. I will eventually get on video. I just can't do it right now, but I'm with you.
Thank you, Tanya. And I think I hear you, Miss Carrie.
Uh-huh.
All right. Okay. So again, sorry everybody for the delay with the technical difficulties. It is now 6:47. And I'd like to call this meeting to order.
Antoinette, I see your name coming in the waiting room. Are you coming in also under your name only?
My hand, I'm not touching anything.
I moved the other her
okay.
other account into the waiting room. But
Okay.
I can remove it.
Okay. Thank you.
I'm like, my hands are here. I'm not doing anything. All right. So with that said, we have statements from the public at this time. All right. Tracy, everyone just remember you have 2 minutes to pose your questions or comments.
Okay, our first speaker we have is, I'm sorry, are we live already, Steve?
Oh yes, Steve.
Remember last time we... Okay, great. Okay, great.
Thank you, Steve.
Our first speaker is Kiana Washington. And let me just see. I don't see her in the waiting room. I don't know if she is there or not. Do we want to come back to that?
Yeah, let's go forward.
Okay, and then the next speaker I have is Patricia Weems, who I also don't see in the waiting room, but I know there were some questions that I'm to read. Is that accurate?
I would just, we'll forward it on and we'll just keep going.
Okay, great. And then, sorry, trying to get back to my email now. And then the next person on my list is Roy Fenichel, who I do see in the waiting room, and I'm letting him in right now.
Hello? Hello, Mr.
Yeah.
Fenichel. Okay. I don't see the clock popping up. Okay.
I have a statement plus questions that I hope you can answer here or by email. All of you and all of us are here for all of the children of our district. Yet for the last year, and still, you keep secret all district future discussions without letting us know what direction you are trying to take our district. You use the pandemic as an excuse to limit community input, except when your attorney or your search firm tells you to involve us. Why every step of the way do we only find out what you were considering after you already did it? You terminate leaders without even letting us know that you were even considering a change. We learned you were considering hiring a search firm after you hired the firm. I know nowadays folks like to hide behind their attorneys, but isn't the education of our children more important than that? Don't you want feedback from the very parents whose children's education is in your hands? Your attorneys work for you, but you're supposed to be working for our children. Why not share with us various options you are considering and at least hear what we have to say? How do we even know what to ask you because you don't even let us know what you were going into executive session to discuss, even though you have been told you need to give a reason for going into session? Please answer these questions. We all know that a pandemic is not an ideal time to be considering, much less making a change. Did you as a board consider putting off a leadership change until next school year when we have a better idea what we need? You run a $70 million district for priceless children, yet you have not even told us who is in charge of that budget. Does your search firm require you to make a change now, or can you postpone that decision until next season? Can you even tell us what you seek in a superintendent? We are blessed to be living in a great area. That's why we moved here with great parents, great stakeholders. We're so close to New Jersey, Connecticut, New York. Yet your ad for new superintendent doesn't mention any of the wonderful things about our district. How much thought has been put into this? If you are as proud of Greenberg as we are, why not share that with the entire world as we do on a daily basis? We love our children. Please support our children. Ours is going to be one of the best jobs available.
Thank you, Mr.
not share with the
Financial. Your
community.
time is up, please. Thank you.
Do we have
I'm just gonna correct one thing. When we go into executive session, every single time we go into executive session, a reason is always stated. There has not been a time that, in my experience being on the board, that I can remember going into executive session without providing a reason. We do that every
search was
week.
never mentioned a single.
Sir,
It
Mr.
has never
Finance,
been mentioned.
let me say this. We're not going to have a back and forth. I'm just going to respond to that. So I just want to be clear. That's never happened. And at least as long as I've been on here, I haven't seen that happen. So that does not happen. Every single time we go into executive session, we always provide a reason.
It has never been
The
mentioned
other things,
in the last year.
the other
The
the other things that we do.
Please direct me to those minutes or that agenda where the superintendent search was mentioned.
Every single time when we go into executive session, you are provided with a reason. It has not happened. So I will say that. And as far as the search, I am in direct communication with the search firm all the time. And we bounce off different ideas and we discuss many different things. The one thing that I think every board member here has stressed and has shared with the search firm is that community involvement is important. And let me say this, Ivy worked extremely diligently trying to make sure that we reached out to a variety of people. I worked alongside with Ivy, mentioning whatever community groups that I can find. So we are trying our best to do the work that we were elected to do. And if sometimes I think we don't understand as a whole, like how that whole process is, but we are following the laws and the rules that board members have to follow. So thank you for your comment. I appreciate it.
That's my point. It was never shared with the community.
President Darden.
Thank you, Mr. Financial. I really appreciate your comment. Have a good evening.
President Darden Cintron, did you want to me to return back to, one of the speakers entered, I guess. Do you want me, Mr. Fenichel was number 3. Do you
Yeah.
want me to return to number 1 or go to number 4? What would you like me to do?
Let's go to number 4, and then we'll come back to number 1.
Okay, great. All righty, so number 4 is Catherine McGee. I see her here in the waiting room, so I'm gonna let her in, okay? And I'm gonna put Mr. Fenichel back into the waiting room. Oh, no, someone else. Is he already back in the waiting room? Yeah, I don't see him anymore. Hi, okay, Katie McGee is here.
I don't see Katie.
Hi, I'm here. Am I here?
Oh, okay. I'm like, I couldn't see you.
I know. There's that lag on YouTube, so I wasn't sure if I was or not. Okay. Hi, everybody. All right. I am going to let you know, since that you might want to check out your minutes for September 15th, 2020, because on top of what Roy just said, it's stated there that the reason for going into executive session wasn't there. But anyway, I have a photo of those minutes. But anyway, that's not what I
was in the minutes.
September 15th, 2020, your draft minutes. So perhaps that's what Roy was talking about.
Okay,
that was
thank
not
you.
what I was here to say tonight, but anyway, since I had that info, I shared it. So
Thank you.
My point is that I was confused after the special meeting with Ray and Associates, and I because Miss Molly answered Trustee Mayor's question about, you know, whether it'll be like open or closed, whether the finalists names will be revealed. And she pointed out that, well, maybe it'll depend on who the candidates are. High status candidates might withdraw if they had to give their name. However, 2 weeks before, Mr. Collins had said, I think it was you, Antoinette, who asked about confidentiality. And he said, well, when it's finalists, we're upfront with everyone, and we tell them that if they come to, you know, if they come down to being the first or second finalist, they should be prepared that their name will be revealed. And he hadn't been familiar with, you know, any times that revealing the names would cause people to back out. So that's 2 very different things we heard. And so I urge you to ask for clarification. I know it's further down the line, but it was very confusing. So I urge you to ask for clarification. The other thing was, yeah, it was confusing to a viewer when you came out of executive session and the camera wasn't on. So please make every effort to have the recording on when you're back in public session after executive session. It's very hard to follow otherwise what was happening.
Okay. Thank you, Katie. And you said executive. When we came out of executive session to make sure the camera was on.
I think that's when we started and it wasn't recording, or wasn't, I guess, streaming and recording.
Okay. Streaming and recording. Okay. All right, thank you. Katie, of course, I wrote down what you said, so I will go ahead and make sure that I do contact and get some clarity on what Molly said, I believe, and what you said that Mr. Collins said before. I think like the first meeting,
Right.
The first public one. Okay. I will do that.
You can look at the videos too. They're on video.
Okay. All right.
So I'm a little, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I'm just trying to make sure I get my notes right.
Okay, so the 5th speaker is Lorraine Cantori, but it says she didn't request to speak, but I just got kind of surprised because Lorraine Cantori just popped up in the waiting room. So am I letting her in, or, but she sent her questions already. So I don't know, what do you want me to do?
I guess we could, if she's in a waiting room, to me, that may indicate that she wants to speak. Wait, hold on for a second. Terry, I see your hand is up.
Yes, as I understood it, Antoinette, I received an email today from a person who missed the deadline who wanted to speak. So if somebody has not submitted a request to speak per our rules, they're not allowed to speak.
I'm confused. She sent
Why would he
in
get an email?
questions. She's in the list of people.
Yeah.
If I heard Miss Mayers correctly, she said that Lorraine Cantori said she did not ask to speak.
She
If I heard.
So let me be clear. She sent a list of questions to the process. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, President Darna Cintron, is to contact our district clerk, not
By a certain time.
I don't know how come you got an email, but I, as vice president, some people choose to email the district clerk, the president, and the vice president, or maybe the district clerk alone, or maybe the district clerk and the president. I don't know. But Ms. Cantori emailed, it looks like, the district clerk, myself, and the president, and sent a list of questions. So I didn't know she would be on here, but I see her name. So I was just asking if I should be letting her in. It sounds like I should. So I will.
Either way, she turned her questions in on time. So if she chooses to speak, she should be able to, because she had her questions in on time. Terry, I don't know if is your hand lowered or is it up? I'm sorry.
It is now lowered.
Okay, thank you. All right.
And just for clarity, President Darna Cintron, I'm sorry, can I just say something? If for clarity, can everyone just know to email Ivy? If you want to put an individual trustee on it, I think that's fine. But I think if Ivy doesn't get the email by the deadline, I don't think it counts, right?
Yeah, but I think, yes, that's true. I mean, I think most people think so.
Oh, okay.
All right. Or no, not think so. No, so. All right. So, who's in now? Oh, I see still connecting to audio.
I do have a question.
It's coming through.
I do have a question, if I may, Antoinette.
Yes, go ahead, Terry.
Ivy, can you let us know, did Ms. Cantori send you either questions or a request to speak?
She sent me an email before the deadline, and it had questions for tonight's meeting. In her email, she did not request to speak. So I did not send her the meeting information. I did forward the questions to the board president and to Dr. Chase.
Thank you. Antoinette, if I could ask, perhaps if, and I don't know, well, let me just ask the question and we can determine if we all need to agree to it. Is it possible to have Ivy, after the deadline, provide us all with the residents who have signed up in time to speak at the meeting?
You're talking about the final list of questions, or like the
Yes.
speaker list? Sure.
The speaker list, yeah. The speaker list.
Yeah. Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so Ms. Cantori is there. I don't know what. Antoinette, do you have the clock thing? The 2 minutes?
Laser.
Oh, sorry. Laser, do you have the?
Oh, Tracy, so should I ask my question?
I'm sorry. Yes, and Antoinette is here, but yes.
Okay, so hi. My name is Lorraine Cantori, and I know this comment's going to get a few parents upset, but you know something? If people are not happy with the board, get your friends together, get your posses together, and run for office, because this is a thankless job that demands hours and hours and hours of relentless work, after midnight meetings, and relentless insults and negative comments that are unwarranted. So anyone who thinks that they can do this job, go get your friends, get on and go run to be elected, because I am so tired of nothing but whining. Take your energy, put it into something else, and just like stop being annoying. Okay, so now that I have that down, I just want to ask my question because that was the main reason for being on tonight. Okay, can an employee who is preparing a budget for another school district simultaneously prepare a quality budget for our school district? Can BOCES be hired to do this job? That's my only question.
Okay. All right.
Closing statement.
Say that one. I'm sorry, Ms. Cantori. Say that one more time.
Okay, so the question that I have is, can an employee who is preparing a budget for another school district
No, I heard that question. I'm sorry, Ms. Carey. I heard that. I thought you were adding something else.
Yeah, no, that's my question, but I also want to state that I find it a little unsettling that people are ranting and raving in the comment box. I find it unprofessional as far as just being a community member to put in comments and make insinuations that are negative. This school board does not deserve it. I am so tired of people that sit there and run their mouth and criticize volunteers of the community when if you can't have something positive to say and contribute to the conversation and sit there and you just sit there behind someone's back and you're writing comments. That's counterproductive. So I just wanted to say that.
Okay, Ms. Cantor, your time is up.
No problem.
I will say that we will, as far as the two questions,
yes,
usually
we'll.
One. Huh? I'm sorry.
One.
Oh, the one. Okay, the one question. Well, there was a BOCES questions and another question.
That was the same. Yeah, it was the same question.
Thing. So we'll have to follow up with you on that question, okay?
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Have a good night.
You too.
Okay, and the last speaker is Miss Kiana Washington. I'm letting her in now.
Okay, Miss. All right, sorry. All right, Miss Washington. Miss Washington, I don't see you.
Yep, it's me.
Okay.
How are you?
How are you?
All right, good. So do I start? Can you go back to 2 minutes?
Yes. Go ahead.
So I'm basically on this call because I'm a little disappointed that our administration has not hired an assistant superintendent. And I actually saw Mary O'Neill's name back on coming into the district at $200. Well,
I'm sorry, Ms. Washington, real quick, just don't mention
the name of the person.
Names, please.
All right,
just have a clear question.
All right, the question, why hasn't the superintendent hired an assistant superintendent of business by now? Because we knew she was resigning November 1st. Now, why is the old assistant superintendent of business name on the minutes to be a consultant at $200 an hour? I am tired of this administration just raping our community of money.
Miss Washington, I'm sorry, I'm gonna pause you for a second.
Go ahead.
So we just answer your question, just ask your questions, like just straightforward questions, please.
Well, I'm going to make a statement first. I'm asking the board not to approve the old assistant superintendent of business to become a consultant. We need to move forward. I know Dr. Chase has many people that she knows, and she could bring in any retired person for that time frame. So from this time frame to June, she could bring someone in. She knows many people. I know Dr. Reynolds knows many people. So let's move forward and not backwards. And I really do not want us to vote or approve her as a consultant. She left us in the middle of a pandemic with all of our buildings in disarray. I just don't feel as a community or board, we should pay her $200 an hour for anything.
Ms. Washington.
Number two, I would like to know, you gonna stop that? All right.
Stop. Okay.
My second question, I would like to know our digital curriculum. And I would like for Dr. Reynolds to purchase Peer Deck for our schools or Nearpod. I know we have Cami, but that's really not enough. And please train our teachers in remote learning. I don't feel that they have had adequate training. They're doing the best they can, but they deserve more. That's it.
Ms. Washington, what did you say? I heard you say digital
curriculum. What is Greenberg Central School District's digital curriculum?
And then you named two
Peer Deck and Nearpod. If we could purchase those platforms for our teachers pre-K to 12. I think that would enhance, especially when you're, doing the remote learning, that would enhance a lot of critical, because you could see the students' critical thinking actually in writing while you're doing your Google Classroom or whatever, your Meet or your Zoom or whatever Greenberg's using.
All right, thank you, Ms. Washington.
Okay, Antoinette, that is it for your list of speakers. And you said you did not want me to read the questions that you got, or no? Remember the questions? Is that me?
No, the person's not here.
No. Okay, great. Thank you.
All right. Committee reports. Terry, you have a committee report?
No, I just wanted to say something before we moved on to committee reports.
We
the last speaker
did, but okay.
Excuse me?
I said we actually already did, but okay.
Well, I had my hand up and I was waiting. So, I mean, I could shout, I guess, and make a lot of noise, but I thought I would use the electronic version. The last speaker said something that was incorrect, and I certainly feel the need to correct that. So she alleged that the superintendent had not hired an assistant superintendent for business. The superintendent makes recommendations to the board, and the board votes on that recommendation. So the board essentially hires the person. Dr. Chase has made recommendations. The board has not moved on it yet. But to say that Dr. Chase hasn't hired somebody, which was her exact words, excuse me, is incorrect. And I wanted to correct that for our listening public so they don't get the impression that the superintendent was somehow reluctant or recalcitrant in her duties.
Thank you. Can I make a comment?
Hold on, Tracy. I mean, not Tracy. Tanya, you go.
Yes, so I would actually like to respond to that comment because it's actually, I think, from my understanding, false. It is the superintendent's job to hire the assistant superintendent. And there has been a lag time in that, and that is not the board's issue, that there has been a lag time. So I would really like to correct that perception because I do not want this board to be viewed as being remiss in this particular duty to the public and to the district. I really resent that comment, actually. Thank you.
Okay, so Jess, I'm gonna clear it. So we know right now that there was a process being held. So there was interviews yesterday by Dr. Chase's team. And I'm pretty sure that the process as it continues, we will get, a recommendation from Dr. Chase. Tracy and then Dr. Chase.
Yeah.
Unless you change your mind about having your hand up, Tracy.
No, I was going to say that we were actually moved on to committee reports. I mean, there were many comments made by the speakers today, and every meeting we have public comments, and sometimes they're not accurate statements, and sometimes they're are. So, I mean, are we, I guess, Miss Miss President, do you want us to comment about correct or incorrect statements or not? Because I could have today with other speakers and I didn't clarify. I mean, there was, I know Miss McGee's question, I did want to respond to her to provide my understanding of clarity, but I thought we just allow people.
Yeah,
to
normally we don't
Okay.
respond.
Okay, well, since we're responding today, if you don't mind, I just wanted to clarify for Ms. McGee, if you're still watching, my understanding, but I'm only one trustee, my understanding is that the search firm is going to leave it up to the board to whether or not to have finalists public and their names, told to everyone. If there is a finalist that's a high profile or whatever that may choose to pull out, I guess then that's a discussion with the board with whether or not we would want it to be public. That's my understanding. You did bring up the contradiction that someone at one point said it would definitely be open, and that at the last meeting, they said that sometimes it's open, sometimes it's not. I know Mr. Warner was very clear that there are people who expect it to be open. I totally agree. There are also people that expect it to be open. But Mr. Warner and myself are two board members, so I don't know what's going to happen, like you said, later down in the line. But I just wanted to clarify for you that that's my understanding of it, that when we get further down in that line, the conversation will then come up like, hey, this person and this person are finalists, but he or she or they may both pull out if it's a public thing, and then we would have to have a discussion. So that's just my understanding. So now I'll be quiet. Thank you, President Darden Central.
Thank you, Dr. Chase. You had your hand.
Yes, I have my hand up. I want to respond to a comment that was made by Trustee Droderick. The superintendent is not lag in what she has to do. The posting was posted properly. There's a time, and I want the community to understand, because I don't want comments to be made and those comments are sort of looming out there. So I'd like to give the community a timeline as to how this happened. When Ms. O'Neill resigned, the Greenberg Central School District put a posting out for the position. The position has to be posted for a certain amount of time. When the position is posted, then committees are formed. There's round 1 interviews, then there's round 2. And there's another portion where you actually do the vetting. And that's when you reach out to references and such. Just for everyone's information, when the posting closed, the district then created a timeline. The timeline was submitted to the school board. The timeline was discussed with the school board as well. Tonight, I will be having a conversation with the school board about the process, because round 1 interviews did take place yesterday. It usually takes about a month or 2 to hire someone. You just can't hire people that fast. It's not how it works, because there's time. And the speaker who spoke before was an administrator here in this district. And so as an administrator, we know the process for what it means to hire. And so we are going to hopefully make a recommendation for a candidate, and hopefully in the next couple of days. But I will be coming to the board tonight with a recommendation for someone, but there's no lag, there's no dragging, there's none of that. The district followed processes and protocols. As
Dr. Chase, when did Mary leave?
Wait, hold on.
Did Mary leave?
Tanya,
Please don't allow her to interrupt. The superintendent was speaking.
I'm sorry,
hold on for a second. Just let the superintendent just hold on, please.
Thank you, Madam President. So we followed all the processes and protocols and procedures. And so I look forward to having conversation with the school board this evening in executive session as to what the findings are of the committee and what my findings are. We hope to move forward really, really soon. But we do know there's processes for hiring people. You just can't hire someone in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, especially not an administrative job. There's legal timelines that we have to follow in terms of postings. And so the district did everything to the letter. Thank you so much for allowing me to clarify.
Thank you. So
let me
stop. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead, Carol.
I just want to clarify so that before this goes any further, conversation should really move into executive session. However, just to clarify, it's a term of art. The way that the words are being used, recommend to hire, the superintendent's duty and responsibility is to recommend for hiring, for evaluating, for promoting, etc. The board approves that recommendation. So while you're both a piece of the hiring process, a superintendent on her own cannot hire someone. She can only recommend to hire. It's for the board to approve who is recommended.
It's December. It's December. That's all I have to say. It's December, and we're only getting recommendations now.
Tanya,
and then I would suggest
if everybody could please hold on for a second. It is 7:20. We have a lot of an agenda to get through. So we are actually supposed to be on committees. So I'm going to ask if we could just, Carol, I know you were finishing something. So if Carol can finish, and then we are going to immediately go to a committee report. We can't, this is not even, it's not even there. We have already moved from statements from the public, and we're now going into the committees. So Carol, please finish. And then whoever's ready for their committee, please be prepared to share your report.
I want to say something, Madam President. I've been waiting.
My only comment before Ms. Carey speaks is that any further discussion about hiring an actual individual should be an executive session, and there should be no more comments taken on this subject. Period.
So we're all clear, right? Okay. Ms. Carey.
Madam President.
Yes.
I would like to thank the community member who gave accolades to this board. It is time that people understand that because things are not going the way they want it to go, it is not because we're doing it on purpose. We have certain things that we have to keep under wraps because it is confidential. We would love to let the board, the community know everything that's going on, but because the state recommends that we keep certain things confidential, we cannot be as transparent as we like to be. Thank you, Madam Person, who you were out there. I can't remember your name, but thank you very much for your accolades on behalf of the board. Secondly, I have said this time and time again. We need to take time to understand what our role is as the board. Right now, we are under certain situations where we don't understand what we're supposed to do. Our lawyer has made it clear, and I think we need to discuss it. I have said this time and time again to certain members of the board, what our responsibilities are. My concern is this: if there is someone of importance who is going to be recommended for let's say a job in our district, the board should be able to interview that person and ask the superintendent, after we've interviewed several people, who is the one who is their particular person of interest or whatever. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit disturbed because I've heard some things tonight that have kind of like disturbed me in a way that maybe I shouldn't have been disturbed. But I want you to know that as a board member, the only reason why I am a board member is because I believe in our youth and I believe in our district, and I want to make sure our students get the best that they can get. And I say this over and over again, the best educational experience. And I believe we as board members need to take that into consideration when we start screaming and hollering at each other. It doesn't make us look good, nor does it give our students anything to hold on to. Thank you, Madam President, for my time.
Thank you, Ms. Carey. David, do you have a report, a committee report? Ashley, I don't
Yes,
think
I do.
yet, but go ahead.
The Finance and Facilities Committee met via Zoom teleconference on 11/24/20 at 5 p.m. Attendees included David Warner, Laser Alert, Heather Gordon, Amy Ashley Moore, Michael Falcone, Steve Morton, Katie McPhee, Hugh McCauley, Carol Allen, Deborah Dionis, Ashley Pineda, Chris Vallon, Tanya Dragic, Jessica Muldoon, Dave, I'm going to butcher this, Rij Lal, I hope, Megan Hock, and Mona Freitag. We, 1, introduced ourselves. 2, noted that our Assistant Superintendent for Business has taken a new position at the Blind Brook School District. We wish her well, and we will devote more time to finance topics once we have filled the resulting vacancy. 3, noted that the Audit Committee will soon schedule a meeting to review our annual audit. Chris Vallon and Dr. Carol Allen volunteered to serve on the Audit Committee. 4, reviewed current status of our facilities. Leah Jackson, administration has selected an ECP playground equipment option and will be moving forward with purchase and installation. Highview, principal's office has a window and door open and fans are now available. Administration has selected an ECP playground equipment option and will be moving forward with purchase and installation. RJ Bailey, Legionella in hot water supply. The second round of hyperchlorination was effective. Test results are negative, and the maintenance mechanic has turned on the hot water back on, so we're good. Woodlands Middle High School, the Unit B replacement exhaust fans are installed and operating, full ventilation. Legionella hot water tests came back with negative results. Hot water is back on. We plan to proceed with a version of security vestibule option 2. I think there's something we can discuss about that towards the end of this evening in this work session. Item 5, discuss the facilities project recommendation process. We need to identify several options for prioritizing our projects, have our experts create detailed proposals, survey the public regarding the options, determine a preferred option, and make recommendations ABC to the board. Community and committee members emphasize the need to leverage experts at the beginning of this process, not later on. More on that in a moment. Item 6, we reviewed potential projects, including BBS building conditions survey priority 1 items. We have lump sum totals for costs per building. We need the detailed list as to what is priority 1. ECP main building ventilation, Lee F. Jackson HVAC control system, RJ Bailey classroom air intake units, mansion ventilation fixes, and a new ECP wing. 7, we briefly reviewed a spreadsheet that would allow us to determine preliminary options for allocating our limited funding to facilities projects over the next 5 years. A special meeting of the Board of Education was scheduled for 6:30 p.m., so we adjourned the committee meeting at 6:23. We just flat ran out of time, but we made some progress. After the previous committee meeting back on 10/28, you may remember we published a request for volunteers from the community with expertise on facilities and financial matters to join our committee. At the 11/24 meeting, community member Hugh McCauley indicated that he had assembled a team of facilities experts, promised to provide a list of their names and qualifications, and requested a private walkthrough of our facilities with our architect. I've not received a list from him. Another community member who is an engineer with mechanical and architectural experience attended the last meeting. I don't want to exclude anyone, so I would prefer that any tour be a Finance and Facilities Committee meeting that's open to the community, and that way any experts we get, they can all come. We need BBS to provide a 5-year capital plan to accompany the building conditions survey, listing individual projects for each year, similar to the 2016 H2M document from our previous plan. We'll work from the highest priority items on that list. Once we have the list, we will request permission from the superintendent to allow the committee to tour our facilities, concentrating on the highest priority items from the capital plan. We would like BBS to attend the meeting. That's my report. Thank you. Tracy wants to talk.
Tracy?
Actually, thank you, but Mr. Williams did have his hand up first, so I'll let him go, and then if I could go after.
Thank you, Vice President Mears. A couple of questions. David, first question, I just want a clarification, and then I think I have a question. Who were the volunteers for the audit committee? Did I hear you say volunteers
Chris
for the
Allen
audit
and
committee?
Carol Allen.
Okay. Correct me if I'm wrong, and this is probably directed more to Carol than anybody, but as well as to Ivy. So the audit committee is a board committee. And the board committee does not have volunteers on it, public volunteers on them. That's why this question is for Carol and Ivy, so we can get this straightened out. Secondly, I think the audit committee has specific rules. I think they might even be state mandated, but certainly I recall reading that with regard to an audit committee, if there is a public person on there, if there's somebody from the public, it is usually someone that is a professional, a financial professional, i.e. an auditor and or an accountant. I don't know what Chris Valen has done professionally. I know she's a very involved parent and all. She may be an accountant for all I know. I know Dr. Allen is indeed a physician, so she is not a financial professional. So if we could get some clarity, first of all, from Carol and or Ivy regarding the participation by the public on board committees, number one, that would be helpful. And number two, if you could just provide us with some clarification on the people who could participate on the audit committee, that would be helpful.
I would need to have your policy in front of me, which I don't. So I'll have to get back to you on that. Happy to do that.
Okay. I believe I saw it in the policy, but I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ivy.
No, there's also, when the audit committee was established, because it is a state requirement, there were bylaws of some kind or a charter of some kind that were created. So I could go back and forward that information to Carol and the board as well. I don't recall what it says in it in terms of the membership. It's been a while. It's been a few years.
Ivy, come on, you don't have this memorized. You know I'm messing with you. Thank you, Ivy. Thank you, Carol.
All right. Did someone else have their hands? A question for David, Tracy.
Hey, Tracy.
Hi. So that was a very busy day, David. Earlier in the day, we did a walkthrough. Did you discuss that at all? I know you had a very short meeting because of our special meeting at 6:30. But did you get a chance to discuss that with the facilities?
No, I managed to pull the pictures that I had already had the principal give me of the inside of RJ Bailey, so that we could at least see what the fans looked like on the inside of the classrooms. The film that we took of the fan in operation on the Post-it note and all that stuff, I didn't get to it. There just flat out wasn't time.
So thank
you for coming to the tour. And in fact, I think you kind of spearheaded that effort. So good.
Right. Thank you, David, because at the time of our scheduled trustee walkthrough, everything was not finished. And one of the things that we all wanted to see or we had asked to see were the fans, as well as we did receive a couple of inquiries about the hand sanitizer machines. I know when we did go on the tour, they weren't working. I remember making a comment about that. So I did also want to see that. And so we did go on the tour and I think only David and I showed up. Mr. Falcone did escort us through RJ Bailey and Woodlands Middle High School to see Building B, which was an area that parents asked quite a bit of questions about. And the hand sanitizers were working at Bailey. The fans were in and we were able to see how the fans were in and how there's no way for them to blow directly onto the students, which was great. There was still some unfinished work to be done, I guess, in regards to the extension cords. You wrote everything down, David. Do you have it?
There was one room that had an extension cord, and what's supposed to happen is they're supposed to put in an outlet close enough to the fan so that an extension cord will not be required.
Right.
Especially since you have it near they have safety windows, right?
Right.
So you want an evacuation and extension cord to get in the way.
Awesome.
So that was noted, and it was supposed to be something that was going to be fixed.
Okay.
The other thing I had a question about, we did when we got to Woodlands, we were able to tell that the ventilators were working by checking the ceiling vents, basically.
Right.
The air was coming out of them. Did you go up on the roof after I left? Because I had to run back to the other meeting.
I did not go on the roof after you left. Was not taking a roof tour that day. And I did get back because I wanted to go to the facilities meeting, but it wasn't streamed live, so I wasn't able to watch it, unfortunately. But I did get the link to it, so I could see it after. So that is good. So thank you for the addendum to your committee.
The other thing I wanted to mention is that the temperature sensors at the front did actually work. Okay, so
yes, they were working as well. Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
Ashley, and then Terry. Is that your hand up now?
Yes, it's up now, but I'll wait until everybody else has had a chance.
All right, Ashley.
David, just a quick note. I know during the meeting we had talked about Mr. Falcone had reached out to VBS and had requested of them to start preparing an EPC list of projects we could take on.
Yes.
I know that's already in progress. I didn't see it in your notes, so I just wanted to make a reference to it. I don't know if most of our community is aware of it. I think some of the communities heard of it before. Basically, those are energy performance contracts that allow us to take on certain projects that we can move forward now and then get reimbursed. I don't know how the whole financial piece works, but it'd be nice if we can get those going once the list is provided, whatever makes sense to move on those.
They make their money off of reduced operating costs, right? So if it costs less money to have, new lights that take less power, then there's an offset, a total cost reduction to us. So any items on the list of things that need to be fixed that will result in a net savings, there's an opportunity for an EPC. Okay. Yes. Thank you for mentioning that.
All right, David, was that it for your report?
That's it until I have my requests fulfilled, which is BVS. Go ahead.
All right. Does Terry, I don't want to take us out of the committee yet. Does anybody else have a committee report?
Well, I have a question on David's committee report still. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
So David, and again, you were going on at a pretty good clip there. Can we back up and did I hear you say that some residents had requested a private walkthrough of the buildings? And if you did, could you repeat that part for me, for us? And then I think I have a question.
Okay. After the previous committee meeting back on 10/28, we published a request for volunteers from the community with expertise on facilities and financial matters to join our committee. At the 11/24 meeting, community member Hugh McCauley indicated that he has assembled a team of facilities experts, promised to provide a list of their names and qualifications, and requested a private walkthrough of the facilities with our architects.
Okay,
I've not
thank
yet
you.
received a list from him. Another community member who's an engineer with mechanical and architectural experience was attending the meeting. I don't want to exclude anyone, especially as someone with skills. So I would prefer that any tour be a finance and facilities committee meeting open to the community.
Okay, I good. I'm glad you repeated that part because I didn't hear that part, that last part, which is very important. And obviously my ears honed in on the private tour part, which would be problematic. But I'm glad you did state that. You probably stated it when you were reading the minutes, and I'm assuming you stated to them as well that. And Karen, you can weigh in if you want to here, that would be problematic for us to give a private tour to people who claim to be experts. That is I can't say it anymore in any other way that would be problematic. But thank you for clarifying that.
Thank you.
Right. Ashley, I believe you have a committee report.
Yeah, I don't necessarily have a committee report, but I do want to give an update on 2 committees.
Okay.
So the Governance and Policy Committee, we have set the dates for the remainder of our meetings. Ivy, I just shot you an email a few minutes ago with the pertinent information. But for the public, the Governance and Policy Committee meetings will be taking place at 6:30 p.m. on the following dates: December 8th, January 12th, February 23rd, March 9th, April 13th, May 11th, and June 8th. I'm not going to repeat it again because we're being recorded, so we could just go back and look at the meeting minutes. And then the next committee meeting I wanted to comment on is the Safety and Technology Committee meetings. We have also established the dates for those. Those will be occurring at 5:30 p.m. on the following dates: December 10, January 14, February 25th, March 11, April 15, May 13th, and June 10th. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Are there any other, Tracy?
For the Communications and the Community Engagement Committee, which is still CEC, or for Community Engagement and Communications, the committee members have to request to be members, and then they can get on our agenda and we can vote on them. You will see today, later on in the agenda, that we have a community member that expressed interest, and the full board will vote on letting that person be an official member. There was another request to be on the committee, but because it wasn't in time before the agenda, it will have to wait to the next meeting. So I just want the community to know that, so this community member does not feel like he or she was not added on or forgotten about in any way. So if you don't see your name, if you made a request to be on the CEC, which is Community Engagement and Communications Committee, and you don't see your name on the agenda, it's possible that it may be on the next agenda. Thank you.
All right. Dr. Chase, I did see your hand up during the reports. Would you like to go ahead this time?
No, that's fine. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right. All right. Ms. Carey?
Yeah, I just wanted to go back a ways, and all of the time I have been affiliated with this district, and I have been on many committees. I was just wondering why there would be a question about anyone having to have a certain expertise in whatever the committee was. I hope I'm making myself clear. It was always a volunteer situation with the community, whether they wanted to be on any committee that had to do with the budget or the students or the facilities, without having to have a degree or any other kind of expertise in the committee that they so desired to serve on. So it would be very interesting to hear whatever the result is from the inquiry of one of our trustees. Thank you.
Okay. Right. So are there any other reports at this time?
Antoinette? Sorry, I couldn't raise my hand electronically. I just want to clarify something. So that is why I asked our experts, Ivy and Carol, to look into that, because yeah, typically there isn't a litmus test for being on most committees, except if it's a board committee, then it's limited to the board. And in the case of the audit committee, because as Ivy clearly stated, or maybe it was Carol, one of the two clearly stated that that was New York State mandated committee, and there could be some information in that regard. And that's why they were going to investigate, because I had that question and I recall that being the case. So yeah, sometimes there isn't a litmus test, but that's why I made it specific to the audit committee, because it was a state mandated committee, and I recall some rules in that regard. So I'm not just saying these things just to say them.
Madam Chair, Madam Chair, I hate to be interrupting in this time, but I just want to say this. We as board members don't have expertise in everything, but we're on those boards. And we do the best we can to be as precise as we can as we go along, trying to make those committees worthwhile as far as the community and our district is concerned. So I can't understand the difference between us not being qualified in certain instances when we're on a board and our community not being, not being precise or expertise. That was my question. I just wanted to make sure that I understood that we as board members can be ignorant to whatever committee we get on, but when we look for community members, they have to have a specific, expertise in an area in which they want, if they want to be on one of our committees. So thank you again for letting me have this time.
Thank you. Just real quick, Ivy, I don't know if you already have it. Sometimes we haven't been to this training for a while, but because it's due to COVID. But sometimes I know I'll share with the rest of the board, or we actually sometimes always get these things. There's from NISBA, the board committees guide. So they do have some information in there too. So just in case, if you don't remember, this is how it looks. So everyone who's on the board might have that already to reference, while Ivy does her deep dive and investigation into that. Okay. Hearing no more committee reports. It is anticipated that our adjournment to executive session. So can I get a motion to adjourn to executive session to discuss the employment history of particular persons being considered for board action this evening and at the next meeting?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Terry, I see your hand is up. Is there a discussion about this motion?
No, but I saw Ivy raise her hand as you were making the motion, so I just wanted to give her that opportunity.
Thank you. Ivy?
No, I don't have a question. Sorry.
Okay. Discussion. Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any extensions? Okay, we are going into executive session. Okay. So.
Are we taking a break or no?
If
I don't need one. I'm just asking.
Does anybody need one? I do not at this time. Okay, let's see.
We will.
Okay, Steve.
I need a 5-minute break.
All right. Terry, go ahead.